According to the US Census, most Americans can fluently speak a total of one language. For the overwhelming majority, that language is English. Now, English was not my first language, it was actually my third. And the reason I point this out is that it means I had a unique experience that most other Americans will never have. I remember the first time I understood English. Now, my first language was Cantonese, one of the dialects of the Chinese language family. Yes, that's right. For those who aren't familiar, most languages do not consider Chinese to be one language. The language for me at home was a mix of Cantonese and Vietnamese. And up to the age of 4, my informal English teachers were Mr. Rogers and those puppet monsters on Sesame Street. And so that first piece of English I understood, that was in kindergarten. Now, the class day was split into like shifts, where you would move from one island cluster of tables to another after they ring the cowbell like every 20 minutes. Each table had a teacher's aide who ran that table's activity. I was the smallest student in the class, as I usually was. And so when I moved into this one particular table and hunkered down, completely invested in the very important task of randomly cutting the sheets of paper with safety scissors, I suppose I caught the aide's attention because, as what happened many times in my life, she pointed a finger at me and asked, "How old are you?" Because I was just that small. Now you have to understand, in Cantonese, that sentence does not translate. Say you have an inanimate object, I would say, "This cup is 80 years old, very old." For living beings, you can say this person is low, which means old, but not for inanimate objects, and it's much more respectful. And if you wanted to ask the age of someone, well, you do that. You ask, "What is your age?" Not how old you are. You don't go around asking why someone's old like a used cup, and that's what I heard. This lady, and I imagine she was actually just an older volunteer student, pointed me right in the face and asked me why I'm old like a cup. And I did what any red-blooded American did. I looked at her like she was stupid and went back to my very important task of cutting construction paper because it needed to be cut. I think the importance of that anecdote is that it reminds me of a life I had before this one. I understand English now, and I won't be able to understand it again ever again. And I still recall that when I didn't speak English, it was a different life. I don't mean it was better or worse, I mean it was kind of a different worldview. I remember one time when I was studying a new language, my mother said, "You are fluent in that language when you can laugh in it." And I truly understood what she meant. In the situations when I only speak Cantonese the entire day, things are different. My mindset, my values, my outlook are genuinely a little different. I mean, it's not night and day, but you do just see the world differently, and you will laugh with a different humor. Jokes that work in one language somehow don't always work in another, and it's not about delivery. I feel that you can be in a different mindset. I don't think it's too far to suggest that you're kind of a different person when you're immersed in another language. Like, there's a personality change. And I think that's important because if Americans mostly only speak and think in English, and America's influence is so strong that the rest of the world bends backwards for us, it concerns me a little that essentially one worldview pushes this influence in a sort of one-way street, with a decreased ability to empathize and see non-Americans' worldviews, while others, like they, are often fluent enough to English to see with American eyes. It does strike me, especially when I switch from one language bubble to another, and I wonder if there's something maybe we should do before it becomes too late. But I'd like to hear what you think. If you grew up speaking another language, or you feel you truly assimilated into a language other than English, or into English, do you feel yourself thinking in a different voice? Would truly love to hear a civil discourse in the comments. I'm very open to being proven wrong. Until then, make me better. I will see you next week.